Hi everyone, so super happy to moderate this panel, and we heard the introduction of the great guests here. Yeah, so I will skip that. Happy to have Jose also online with us. And yeah, we got two general questions. We'll be going one by one, and each of you should answer that, and then we got individual questions. So let's go. The first one would be in the light of the potential end of the crypto winter, which we already also heard in the previous keynote. How should both new and seasoned investors approach the crypto market? So what are your top tips for navigating this transition phase as you can see right now? Let's go.
Yeah, hey everyone. I think it's not yet time to dodge in. Proceed with caution, and because of macroeconomic factors, we can still have some volatility, but bull market at some point will be imminent anyways.
Yeah, I mean, it depends of the type of investors. Of course, some people are more risk adverse, others not so much. Me personally, I think it's definitely a good time to accumulate. And there is a lot of projects that basically launch in a very good timing in the last one, but are also very fundamental strong, right? Another thing to keep in mind is a lot of projects, they only raise $1 or $2 million in some situations. So you also need to understand that we don't know where or when the bear market will end. So, and also, the keyword here is survive, so make sure the project that you are investing on and so on actually have money to survive until the next bull market. So I'll give that as a tip as well.
Okay, so I think that I will separate the tips for emotion side and the more technical side. So from an emotion side, I think that the most important things during the beginning of the crypto journey is to have some kind of health and safety, like rules for trading, for investing. And for me, one of the main rules here is like don't touch leverage trading. Like at the beginning, I saw way too many like a sad story about short-term crypto journey because people started to leverage. Leverage means emotion. Emotion are addictive, and usually it ends very bad. And maybe from it will be much interesting. Maybe from like a technology side or technical side or strategy side. I think here the most important thing for new people is to stick with the narratives, because narratives at the crypto markets like going like crazy. We have 1 week with China narratives, the other weeks with AI narratives, and the problem is that you have to stick with it. But I think that very important is to stick with technology narratives, and for example, right now is like a layer 2 narratives is way hotter than layer 1 narratives. So probably it will be much better investment strategy to stick with layer 2 projects. So I think that's it for now.
Cool, good advice, thank you.
I would say that I'm probably too stupid to understand half of what Kamil just said. So I'll just stick with my side of the chart. I'd say that it's fair to assume that you will lose. It's fair to assume that the losses will come no matter what you do, no matter what strategy you play, no matter what part of the world you are at, what coin you're trading, what asset you're trading, what leverage, what broker you use, you're going to lose. As simple as that. Losses are inevitable, mainly because, again, we cannot predict the future per se, right? We have no idea. I have not a single piece of idea who's going to win the next year's election in states. You know, I have no idea who's going to win the parliamentary elections, you know, in Poland, because I cannot know. Why would I know? I'm too stupid to know that, right? I'm objectively ignoring it. I assume and I agree and I accept that I cannot predict the future. because it's full of entropy, right? It's full of this inherent chaos that just comes up unexpectedly and changes all of the things. So yesterday, I actually flew in from Dubai earlier today, and I was having very good conversations with clinical psychologists and psychotherapists as a part of a very interesting project. And we were discussing that we have to be ready for everything, including the death of a member of the club. And we should get ready for that. And 10 minutes later, our friend comes up telling, who is a consultant to publicly listed companies, that the company leader passed away. And that's a stock market company. That's a publicly listed company, and the news wasn't out just yet. And they were figuring out what to do. So if you assume that you're going to lose, if you assume that unpredictable stuff will come up anyway, all of a sudden it changes your perspective, because you do not try to protect yourself against from the losses, and you try to incorporate them and actually manage the risk outside of it. How much losses there have been in the past, how frequent they were. You can actually adjust and adapt your strategies to it. And finally, I would suggest that technical systems, those rules and guidelines that you follow strictly no matter what, even though you lose, no matter if you win or lose, you continuously adapt it. And it may happen that just like you flip a coin, then if 5 times in a row heads come up, it doesn't mean that you are a genius and the greatest coin flipper in the humankind history. It means that you were lucky. Luck is deviation of chance stuff, and that shouldn't happen, yet it happens. Okay? So if you prepare and follow those rules and guidelines, the luck will at times come up, giving you profits. However, more importantly, you are able to learn how to manage the losses. So technical trading and definitely respecting the seasonal patterns is something that I would also recommend.
Thank you. And let's switch to Jose right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks very much for having me. Can you remind me what the question was? The answers are great, and I got a bit distracted listening to them.
Still, so like in the light of upcoming crypto summer and the end of the crypto winter, as we assume this is what's happening right now, what is your advice for seasoned and as well new investors coming to the market and how they should approach it?
Good question. Yeah, I don't know if it's the end of crypto winter yet. I think there's a wide dispersion across the market. Some projects are like very exciting, high quality projects, and they're trading below their recent private round valuations that VCs participated in. Others are still like highly inflated, I think, given fundamentals and potential. I'd say advice for new investors is always pretty similar. Sort of start understanding this stuff. And I think the only way to understand it is to really get in the weeds on a specific project, participate in the community, use it, start contributing in the Discord, on governance forums, and slowly you'll meet kind of other like-minded people, and you'll sort of by association start getting interested in other projects. You know, like if you get interested in a perps platform first, like synthetics, then maybe afterwards you'll find out about Chainlink and oracles, and you'll start looking into the oracle space, and then you'll find out about other infrastructure. And I think the natural learning journey will start. I think it's very difficult to make money trading crypto if you don't understand it or believe in it and have an edge long term. And it's also a very painful process. I think I wouldn't really recommend it to anyone. Kind of like just pure trading crypto on charts or whatever. So my advice would be get stuck in, start learning, develop a thesis, and yeah.
Got it. So I see we got 2 approaches here, and let us stay with the next question with you. We do another round of general question in this way, and we touch the stuff of that we need to know what is going on in the crypto if we want to trade it and participate in the market. So what are the key trends you predict for the crypto market, and what advice then you could give to both people who launch startups and as well as investors? And let's stay with you, Jose, please.
Okay. Yeah, key trends. On the project side, we're definitely very interested in the gaming side. over the last 2 years, since kind of the initial success of Axie Infinity, we've seen some of the best game developers in the world move to crypto. People that have built like iconic titles, whether it's Call of Duty or EVE Online. Some of the co-founders of that are now building stuff in crypto. So I think that's going to be a huge, sort of a huge trend that'll drive a lot of new users into the space. But I think there are a lot of other trends. I think one of the things that we're seeing is a big regulatory crackdown, right? Both in the US, but also globally, across a bunch of dimensions, like money laundering, securities laws, sanctions, all sorts of stuff like that. And I think what that's going to drive, and it's sort of already driving in many ways, is forcing projects to decentralize. So forcing them to actually live out the crypto ethos. Because I think ultimately any point of centralization will be leveraged by either a regulator or just a large, centralized actor to kind of exploit the project and take it down. So we're seeing a rise in like decentralized governance infrastructure and projects relying more on actual governance versus multi-sigs. We're seeing rise in like decentralized infrastructure, whether it's indexing, decentralized front-end solutions, and stuff like that. And a bunch of other kind of things like that. So I'd say those are two big trends. Yeah.
All right, so we got your trends, and when it's a question about the timing, we're gonna comment back to you soon. But let's switch to Adrian with the same question and some other point of view for that.
So anything again about forecasting, that is a very good question, right? Anything that regards forecasting also regards statistical analysis and an inclusion of the fact that we may always be wrong, right? Again, because we cannot predict the future per se. And even though I have a little bit of a different approach, I sit in the charts, I watch the charts because my assumption is, as a market technician, that charts tell the story. At times they do not tell the full story, right? However, my assumption is that the price discounts everything and the price has memory. So because of that, when we observe those historical patterns, like I said, the bull market for Bitcoin has just started, right? Then I would name those charts more from the technical side, right? So of course it's very important to stay up to date and then just maybe reach out to friends and to people smart as Kamil and as our guest here about anything that regards technology, fundamental side of it, right? Managing crypto on the fundamental side of it is very difficult because again, many institutional people when I talk to them, right, those real bankers, those stock exchange brokers, those actual OGs, in anything that regards investing and trading, they do not much understand that, right? So anything that we come up with is basically coming organically from the inside of it. So this is why it's very important, just like Kamil said, to keep the narratives, right? Keep up with the narratives. And they come and go. I remember, I still probably have some master notes from 2018 or 17. I don't even remember what that was or where that is. I have lost hundreds of thousands of dollars on those narratives just because I wasn't able to time them well. I completely agree with the prediction. I may be wrong. That sounds logical to me, however, that gaming is a good gold mine of opportunities, of potential. There's one excellent project that we have official partnership with as the Birb Nest with MetaPro. Great. A project that actually onboards gaming clients from the Web 2 world to the Web 3 world, right? They didn't pay me to tell that. I'm just giving you an example on MetaPro. And projects like that accept the transition and help onboard people from this whole huge gaming industry from outside of crypto and get them somehow, show them a way how to get into crypto, to combine both of these huge industries. This is what I think may come up as a great opportunity altogether. Other than this, I would definitely not give up on NFT technology as it is. I still think it's way more than anything that is a JPEG picture. Even as I hold this Bored Ape Club Basie NFT, whatever, and it's much more providing value on the networking side, as in you get to shake hands. No, how they say that? Shake hands. Much faster than without this, right? You get to know the right people maybe faster. And imagine you need to reach out to somebody on the other side of the planet, so you immediately know who you can talk to. So there are so many values that are actually undermined and undervalued on the NFT technology side of it, of course, real estate and so on. I could ramble on and on. So I would not give up on NFTs. GameFi, seasonal patterns, like I said, the bull market as it is overall sets us, shows us the main direction in which we want to search opportunities for sure.
Got it. And Kamil, you touched the topic of layer 2, so let us know why you think this is the hottest topic and narrative in crypto right now, and what people gonna be looking at in this upcoming bull market.
Okay. First, I think that there will be a lot of new narratives, trends during the next few months. But right now, I would go with one which is super not obvious right now, because if I would ask you right now, what is the main layer 2, you probably will tell me that it's Arbitrum. Yeah? Arbitrum, the biggest total value locked. Arbitrum, the most active users, etc. But right now, I would like to say something not popular right now, but it will be much popular, I think, during the next month. I think that optimism will have like a new wave or adoption. Why? Because optimism have something like founders said about their technology, that they are believing in superchain thesis. And what does it mean? It means that we can connect a lot of layer 2s in one foundation, and this foundation is OP stack, the technology from Optimism, and we can securely connect them, and the flow between all these layer 2s can be super safety and very fast. And I don't know if you are aware of that WorldCoin, have you ever heard about it? I don't know. WorldCoin is a project which combines AI, which combines blockchain, and combines identity. WorldCoin right now is valued at $3 billion in a private market after last round. And this is a project which behind that project is Sam Altman. Sam Altman is founder of Y Combinator. Sam Altman right now is like behind of ChatGPT and WorldCoin. And this is information from last few months. And I don't know if I don't really understand why market doesn't know it yet, and why market doesn't tell it loudly, because WorldCoin will be based on optimism. And what is the super interesting thing is that WorldCoin right now has on the waiting list 1.5 million users. And if we add to this that in the next few months we will see Coinbase layer 2 technology base, we can assume that a lot of new active users will come to Optimism technology, like a few million new users from a WorldCoin and from a base. And I think that Optimism will have a huge new wave of adoption. And if you ask me about the investment thesis, I wouldn't go with OP token because of inflation, because of a lot of new tokens will appear on the market in the next few months. But I would go with projects that are based on Optimism, that are really foundation of that ecosystem. And right now everybody is watching for Arbitrum, but I think it's time to pay attention to Optimism.
I'm sure everybody will check more on what is going on in Optimism after that. Yeah, and let's switch to Johnny.
Yeah, I mean, there is definitely some trends. Personally, and also through our company, gaming is a big one, definitely. I think what we saw with Axie Infinity and all the copycats and so on was basically something to spark the interest in gaming. There is multiple reasons we believe gaming will be super big. We have a lot of talent now coming, even from senior positions from Activision, Ubisoft, and so on. There is actually a lot of high-quality games being developed. At the same time, I do think games is a very easy onboarding experience. Because if you try to talk with someone about crypto, right, and you talk about tokens, lending, swap, and borrowing, they probably they will probably hear you in like 30 seconds or something, and then basically ignore you and go to someone else, right? But if you talk about gaming or specific to digital assets, everyone use or have a digital asset if you think about it, right? For example, your Instagram account is a digital asset. You have reputation, you have followers, and so on. So I do think, and coming with NFT perspective, not particularly the token in gaming, I do think will be very easy to onboard people. Everyone plays games, everyone likes games. And also, I do think, and taking from the NFT era, I think what we saw, and is kind of similar to gaming, and I always compare with the 2017 crazy years that everyone wants to blockchain everything, or everyone was fancy with tokens. I think we kind of got that with NFTs. Everyone wants a collection, but nobody wants to do something with it. They just do another mint or land sale or whatever. They actually don't produce anything. So I do think that after this euphoric cycle of collections and all the NFT stuff that was built, now there's actually a lot of people that stay and are actually building something very interesting on the IP side of things, also on the financial side of things with NFT. I think in terms of creators, in terms of artists, music and stuff, I do think is also a good way to connect artists with fans. So I'm expecting a trend there, or at least hope so. So definitely gaming, NFTs. DeFi is always there, as we all know. I do think with liquid staking, we now have actually hard assets that can produce safe yield in a way, not the Ponzi-nomics or the big APIs we saw in the past few years. So I'm excited to see a lot of DeFi protocols actually using liquid staking and also thinking new ways to produce yields. There is also real-world assets. I think has potential, but still is not particular super crypto. You still need to trust someone. There is a legal structure and so on, but it's kind of safe yields in a way. And I would like to see something around AI, but right now it's only people trying to scam others and use some generative art and with a token that doesn't need it. But I do think, and I think everyone right now see AI having a place in every single industry. So in Web3 it will happen. Maybe not this trend or this year or the next 1 or 2, but I do believe it will happen eventually.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, and the same for Jānis.
Yeah, so I think that there are going to be winners in all the categories, newcomers and guys that are building already for many years. But in my opinion, a big shift will happen when we will start to acknowledge that most of the fundraising tokens are securities, and they need to represent a share in whatever is happening there in the ecosystem. And we need to segment out business tokens from all of the rest, and business tokens have to show earnings, so report earnings. I think that would be a good shift into better markets.
All right. Thank you very much for that. And we talk a little bit about the upcoming crypto summer, what can happen, and etc. So now we got this round of individual questions, which are rather more focused on how you guys been doing during the crypto winter. So let's start alphabetically. So with Adrian, and given your trading experience, could you share how you adjusted your trading strategy during this crypto winter times? And if you see any signs of the better market environment coming? But I think the second part we've seen in the previous keynote.
Yeah. Bear markets are very difficult. They are difficult, especially in crypto, because they are very drastic, dramatic, and not as in. It's not like in a stock market that you get to see 20% on average, maybe drawdown, maybe 30. It's deep already. Of course, some stocks like Netflix or Meta, Facebook, would still deep like 90%, which is pretty crazy, or 80%. It was really crazy to see that. Or if you have a look at what was going on with the banking industry recently, right, with SVB and everything, just basically trading like complete shitcoins and Ponzi's literally dropping to zero in no time. And those are global banks that funded Silicon Valley, for instance. So again, expect the unexpected, right? And I had been lucky. Again, there had been some luck, maybe a little bit of intuition. All of that is necessary. However, it still translates to technical, when it comes to technical trading, right? This is just one side of the story. I mean, that's an interpretation, right? I'm not saying you cannot make money without using charts. I know perfectly friends who made an insane amount of money basically flipping a coin or so, right? Almost, just based on intuition. For most of the people, it wouldn't apply like that, right? So we are all by nature loss averse and risk adverse, or risk neutral, somewhere over there. Loss aversion is this bias that, again, makes us act very much in preservation, right? So that just not to waste the movie ticket that we purchased by mistake that costed us $5, we would drive the whole fucking city and get stuck in the traffic, lose 5 times as much on the petrol, on fuel, and make it to the movie that we didn't even want to watch, right? That's a sunk cost bias, that's a loss aversion. We hate losing money. And I had been lucky enough to discover that as my CMT path and journey continued. That would give me good alerts and good moments to leave the market. So when Q4 came in and Bitcoin was again recovering and hitting $50,000, $60,000, I had been very busy basically distributing the capital outside of crypto. I wasn't really feeling safe with that amount of money in crypto at that time, and I decided it's time to search for some safer and more undervalued opportunities. I didn't try to guess if it had more opportunity to come or not, if it had some fuel or steam left. I didn't care about that. I cared only about basically not feeling safe with that amount of money. All I had to do is go outside of crypto. So I invested in real estate and gold, silver, cash, of course, at that time, right? I did what I had been planning to do with business. Of course, some money had been dedicated to other investments. So I think there was some luck. I didn't lose a single cent last year on Theta. Luna, I didn't lose a single cent on FTX. So I got lucky a couple of times in a row. It doesn't make me a genius. I suck at it, probably. But it happens that statistically I had the chance and I just got to use it. So the last year was very much about capital preservation, right? Because I am a trend follower, which means that I follow the trends. And when I see a line moving up, I will follow the line and I will go in the direction of the line. And if I see the major trend, the primary bull market, the bear market trend, going down for the past 2022 year as a whole, I would never in my life dare to do the opposite, right? So as a trend follower, I will lose 70% of the time. 70% of the time I'm wrong on average. So 70% of the time, 7 out of 10 trades I lose. However, because I manage the risk, the losses are kept small. In anticipation of those longer tails, those tails that took Bitcoin from almost 70,000 to 15,000, that took from 3,000 to 60,000 and so on, right? Those are the long tails. And you want to basically hold on to those long tails as well. So as a technical trader, you get much more preservation of capital in the bear markets because technical indicators are preservative basically by nature. They're only going to tell you to get into the market when there is a signal. When there is no signal, you're out of the markets. So most of the time I was out of the market. And in hindsight, it was a good decision, right? So yeah, it was much about boring stuff, about waiting, about keeping it secure, basically focusing on building intrinsic value for the projects and the firms that I do, and not rushing against the trend, right? I let the trend develop, and boom, now we are on the bullish side.
Good advice, I believe, and wondering how many people can sit on their hands when it's needed. So we got this point of view from a technical trader, and let's switch to Johnny with some other approach of early stage investor at Poolside and Polkastarter. So how the crypto winter treated you? And we know that for founders during those times, it's pretty hard to raise money, but also from the investment side, we see less founders building because there's less capital. So how you perceive the situation, and do you see any shift right now happening in the early phase investing?
Yeah, to be honest, was really good. I know nobody likes bear markets, but for us personally, allows us to actually stop a bit, scale the team, see what we did wrong or not. And the reason we decided to create an accelerator was managing Polkastarter and so on. We got thousands and thousands of applications, and a lot of times you see actually good ideas and good founders, but really wrong execution and really wrong advice, right? I think it's nothing new for everyone here that there is definitely a lot of people in this space that advise or invest in people that are very short-term based. So they don't really care what you are building. They just want to make a lot of money really fast with you. So for us was the perfect timing to create an accelerator, and it's the perfect time to back and help actually good founders. Because in the bear market, you actually connect with interesting people, people that are here to build stuff, people that are here to bring value to the industry, not people that are here to make a quick buck and so on, right? Those people are usually on the bull market, right? So for us, it's very easy to filter. You have much more interesting conversations. You don't have founders creating something because it's hot in the moment. You actually have some good ideas and so on. So for us, I would say it's pretty good. In the funding side, is definitely a struggle, for sure. I'm not going to say it's not. At the same time, the investors that you will get, those are the ones that are trusting you because they are also doing a big risk investing in you. We all know in bull market, you basically invest in anything if you are that type of person or VC, and you will probably make money on most of them, right? So I would say the people you connect with, you work with, you get funded with, are definitely more valuable now in the bear market than a bull market, and will help you long term. So.
Got it. And staying still with early phase investing, let's switch to Jose. You just launched the Delphi Labs accelerator with 13.5 million in the bank. So big congrats for that, as I think it's a news from April. And I said we're gonna touch the timing of that. So you shared some words on your thesis towards investing, and what about timing? So did you launch it right now due to you want to participate in upcoming bull market, or you think it's still time for a low valuations, and that's why you choose this point of time?
No, I don't think we really thought about timing too much. It's sort of what we've been doing anyway for quite a while. So Delphi has sort of three parts to the business. We have a research firm that started in 2017, covering all sorts of like producing institutional grade research. And then we have our venture fund, obviously, which we invest across the space, manage our own capital. And then we have labs where we build stuff and help other people build stuff. So the accelerator was always the plan with labs. We've been incubating and helping build projects for a while. And it just ended up that this is when we kind of raised externally for it. Yeah, there was nothing really sort of timing based to that. I guess I'd say like a few things. I think the biggest rewards that I've seen in the space are for people who are long-term oriented and who have like similar to what João said, who are long-term oriented and have like a long-term thesis about what they're doing. And I think you see that a lot more in the bear market. And if anyone's been through a cycle or multiple cycles, you'll know that like the crypto markets like give you plenty of opportunities to kind of lose conviction, right? There's things that happen all the time that give you opportunities to sell your coins and kind of not participate in the upside that happens in the right projects. So I think like having a long-term thesis and kind of understanding what you're doing, believing in it long-term and keeping that in mind is really important to have longevity in the industry, and having longevity is really the only way to I think succeed here. Although, and then on the timing point, I would agree that as a in personal kind of trading, which is I'd say different from like venture investing and different from building stuff, it's very important to kind of time things right and size properly. I'd say like as a single kind of individual trader, it's very difficult to have deep insights on a lot of different projects and a lot of different sectors, and to have like the deep conviction you need to really like ride the volatility. So on that side, I'm much more on board with kind of spending most of your time sitting on your hands or in BTC and ETH, depending on how you think about what your kind of risk profile is, and then making big bets when you find something that's really compelling, that you have high conviction in, and that you're willing to hold for a while. Yeah.
Got it. Thank you. And now the question is for Kamil. So you touched the topic of narratives you're looking for in the bull market, and what about those you've seen in the bear market? So what are those which fooled people during the last cycle, and how did you find hidden gems during that hard time?
Okay, so I think that one of the narrative that totally fooled market and also fooled me a lot during the last year was Web3 gaming. Not because maybe in other words, I believe in Web3 gamings. I believe it will be huge, but I remember that in 2021, I have a feeling that right now we are in a phase where Web3 gaming could be totally separate from our market. So I believe that the gamers will fall in love in Web3 games, and even if Bitcoin or Ether or whole market will go down, the Web3 gaming will accelerate. But the truth is that we wasn't ready for it yet. I believe that it will happen, and it will happen when much better infrastructure will enter the market. And I believe that we will see huge impact of blockchain esports. I believe that we will see a huge impact of competitive multiplayers. I believe that this will be a huge game changer in terms of blockchain gaming adoption. And I believe that when the time has come, when the time will come, we will not tell about Web3 gaming like Web3 gaming, but we will just say, okay, it's game, but with a blockchain. So I believe that it will happen in the next years, and it will be huge. It will really huge. Yeah, and I think that's it.
Yeah, so a lot of warm words towards Web3 gaming, I see, or gaming in general. And as we slowly running out of time, the last question is going to Jānis. So could you tell the audience what is the role of market makers and what role they play in revitalizing the crypto market during this transition into better times, hopefully?
Yeah, I think that market makers are very different. They are service providers, so who you get as your contact person, I think it's really important. So I like to get very involved with founders. Since I've been a founder for many years myself, and big in Web 2, big in Web 3. So I like to help them figure out their challenges and go through them. It's a bear market. It's the best time to be building. So if there are teams that are building, then yeah, the opportunities are going to come. And yeah, so I would encourage all the market makers to get more involved in the projects they're making markets for.
Thank you for that, and thank you everyone for all of the alpha you spread here. So we saw different views on different topics, but for sure a lot of great information. Yeah, so that would be it as we run out of time. So big applause for our guests.